The marketing book cover used for Mailings Volume 2, Smokin' Thuy'd Part 1 has a lot going on. By the time this video is finished, you'll get the idea for the full cover from front to back. For now, we can see that there's a man smoking something, and the smoke becomes the apparition of a woman. That man is the main character, and the woman is a secondary character. It is reflective of the illusory nature of the relationship between man and woman, which blurs the lines between reality and fantasy, expectation and duty, and responsibility and carelessness. Before I get started, I have to give mad props to my illustrator, Andu Anderson. She's won multiple accolades for her artwork in El Salvador, and she's a wonderful person to work with. Check her out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Grease Antoinette, and I'll leave the link in the description. It all starts with an idea, and what came to me was a scene in an apartment living room lit by the setting sun, with our main character burning a fatty after a hard day at work. I sketched this idea first to convey it to my illustrator. The lines you see coincide with the boundaries for the cutting and collating of book pages. My illustrator has sketched the main character in many situations, so he wasn't anything new, and a secondary character as well. When I conveyed my idea to her about the floating apparition coming out of his marijuana cigarette, she got it right off the back. In this sketch, we see that the head of the character faces the reverse direction than the final production, and the incense burning is right behind him on a little mini table. With the door to the room and the computer table with laptop and lotion, consistent with another chapter, you guys have to read the book, but it placed too many restrictions because the bedroom was not originally drawn with a couch, and the door to the room would have been on the other side of the room, as it was in the illustrations in the book. If you look closely, you can see the separating part of the spine of the book, which would make the door, window, and computer table end up on the back of the book. Also, the synopsis would have to go on the back cover of the book, and with the door in the way, there wasn't a stylized way to include it. We had to move the door because in the room, the door would have been on the other side. As you can see, the drawing was updated to have the door on the other side with a small portion of it showing. To include the synopsis, I wanted it to be written in the smoke, which is a theme of this book. But since Thuy'd was already manifesting out of the weed smoke, I had to find some other way and decided to add incense. A lot of smokers like to use incense, so I put a miniature table at the other end of the couch, and the smoke cloud would be the cloud in which to write the synopsis. But then I thought again. It would be too much of a reach for the smoke to emanate from the front cover across the spine and on the back, because the title and the author name need to go on the spine. I also thought, since we're in the living room, let's just get rid of the door altogether to avoid plot holes. So I got rid of the computer table and put the miniature coffee table with the incense on it under the window and let the smoke emanate into the other side of the room, whereby the text from the synopsis could be inserted. We also got rid of the bed since it was changed to the living room. On the coffee table in front of the couch, the ashtray was reduced in size, and other items like a canned beverage and a remote and some papers were added to give it a practical feel. In this picture, the lighting was adjusted to give it a more sublime look. We added a flat screen TV, the back of which can be seen. I wanted more detail done on the apparition. Since it was floating, it would make sense that all the hair would be streaming behind it, not just saving the two strands that covered the nipples. So we got a little bolder. We used marijuana leaves as pasties to cover the nipples and let the hair freely float behind it. I also want to address the gluteal split, but the illustrator only used it for sketching purposes. It will be covered by smoke in the final product. I wanted my cover to be catchy, but not R-rated. I also noticed the hair floating behind her had flowers in it. I thought it looked pretty at the time. The black and white drawings were put up for refinement to add colors for the cover. Then basic color themes were chosen. Here's the basic color for the book cover, with the light coming into the room to give it a more soothing feel. Next was the business of adding the information: logo, title, subtitle, author name, and the Male Angst logo with a stylized A. All of this was submitted for refinement. The logo was added, but the reflective effect distorted it because I submitted a JPG instead of a PNG or transparency file. Also, the word synopsis was still in the synopsis, which needed to be removed, and the direction of the text on the spine of the book needed to be reversed. Next, we reversed the text on the spine and cleaned up the front and spacing around the Male Angst logo. My illustrator recommended changing the color of the words by Bobby Cenoura because of the lighting and color tones, so we made it consistent with the rest of the font. Also, I wanted by Bobby Cenoura to be on the bottom right of the cover. Next, we decided to center the title and reduce the amount of smoke coming out of the apparition. I thought it was excessive. Now we have everything just the way I wanted it. Centered, stylized title, author name on the bottom right, and all the colors. But what kept getting me were the flowers on the head of the apparition of Thuy'd. I thought it was inconsistent with the whole high and dazed because of smoking tweed theme. So I said, let's just put marijuana leaves in her hair. If you look closely, you can see that the original idea was to have marijuana leaves in her hair anyway. We put those leaves back in her hair, and that made all the difference, plus the glow. And there you have it. The cover from front to back of Male Angst, Volume 2, Smokin' Tweed, Part 1. Check the link in the description to see where you can find this book, Male Angst Volume 2, Smokin' Tweed, and other books by the author Bobby Cenoura. Thank you for watching through. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video.